Yeah, defo, man. So I've just hit record on this now. But how's the fam and everything? Everyone all good?
All good. So my she's Manchester. She's all good. She's still at work, so she does a lot of work for, medication and stuff. So
Oh,
fortunately, she's
okay.
still in that sort of industry helping out. And my dad, he's over in opposite side, so he's just chilling.
Oh, nice.
Going life, yeah. And the family in Scotland are the same, mate. Just
Yeah, yeah.
same boat as us all.
Yeah, yeah. Have you found the kind of like the response to the change in the restaurant and like all the stuff that you guys are doing?
I mean, yeah, what we've done is I've got two restaurants, so we've had to close them both down, obviously with government law. But
Yeah.
another company, so we're doing sort of, it's not really ready meals; it's more of restaurant quality meals that we'll make up like we would do here in the restaurants and send them out to the customers, and they get to sort of try cook it at home, and they can do it all, in 10 minutes or less. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Sounds
about
great.
adapting. Yeah, it's about adapting, of what changes that we can do, to just keep ourselves sort of sustainable and going and keep both the restaurants sort of moving forward as best as we
Yeah.
can.
100%, man. No, it's a good shout. I mean, it's just one of them. Everyone's got to be on their toes, don't they?
Yeah.
But listen, man, we'll kick things off. So, welcome to the Fitness Burrito Podcast. It's kind of fitting. Obviously, we got another chef on today, so I'm pretty excited. So if whoever's listening out there, if you've never tuned into this podcast is all about kind of giving you practical info that you can apply to help you with kind of everything health, fitness, nutrition. And because obviously we're in pretty crazy times, I thought it'd be cool to get some different chefs on that can just give you guys ideas when it comes to food, nutrition, cooking. Because if anything, now more than ever, we've noticed that you can't get flour anywhere.
Yeah.
You can't
Mate.
get so many little things. And people are baking and they're cooking, which is good because they never did before. But at the same time, a lot of people are probably struggling with recipes. So I'm Dan Q. I'm the guy behind the podcast. You can find me at Bonte Performance. But today I'm pretty excited. I've got Lee Murdoch today, who's a chef. He's got a pretty cool kind of history, I think, within the game. He's going to give you a bit of an intro in a minute, but I'm pretty sure him and his team are award winners. I've heard some rumors that people have reached out to you in the past. I'm not going to name any big time chef names. But yeah, Lee, man, thanks for your time. And if you just want to kind of give
Thanks
the
for having
people
me.
a bit of yeah, no problem. Give the people a bit of a background on yourself. Can be as long as short as you want, man.
Yeah, man. So, my name's Lee Murdoch. Been cooking now for about 16 years. Bit of a long time in the industry. I've had the pleasure of working with some great chefs, learned some great skills, which I'm sort of lucky to have. I've travelled quite a bit around the world, through Asia, Middle East, a lot of one Michelin star restaurants through Europe. I've been about. I've learned some cool different techniques and different cuisines, and I've been fortunate enough to come back to the UK and set up a few restaurants of my own with some good people, good friends as well. So that's a sort of short intro of what I've done in the
Nice.
last
Yeah, that's a very
years.
humble intro. Very humble
Yeah.
intro. Just because I'm curious, I'm sure some of the guys are curious. I'll be listening to this. Who have you kind of worked with that people might know? And even if we don't know, who's kind of like people you got some inspiration from, or that you kind of got a huge reality check when you started your cooking game, I guess, or chef career?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with a chef in Japan called Matsura. He's a bit of a big time chef there in the south. So, working alongside him, the guy was 73 years old, and his knowledge and cooking ability, I mean, his knife skills for one, I find myself, pretty good and handy with a knife, but this guy just makes you feel like a kid again. I've been in the Middle East in Dubai, and I work with a guy called Jason who used to work with Grant, who has the 3 Michelin star restaurant in Alinea in Chicago, and Thomas Keller as well from the French Laundry in California. So, working with this guy, you really understand and appreciation of the knowledge about certain flavors and food, and it just brings you down to that basic understanding of how you can build up layers of different flavors to achieve the end goal and something completely different that you might thought was the right way before.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've actually, you know what, some of those names you mentioned, obviously I didn't really know a whole bunch about them because I'm not like a big food connoisseur or whatever. But yeah, like those are a few of the names that have been dropped in just conversations with other chefs recently. And I think one of the is it the guy who, is it French Laundry, you said?
Yeah, Thomas Keller.
Is he? I don't know if he's the guy, but there's a thing online I saw the other day, a bit of a tangent. It's called Masterclass, and you can like basically do
Yeah.
class. Is that him?
So that's him, yeah. So I never worked with the guy. I worked with his sous chef, Jason. But there was two of them that worked under Thomas Keller in the French Laundry. And this is when they went from 1 to 3 Michelin stars over a course of 5 years. And their knowledge of food is just unbelievable, you know, and it gives you a real insight and understanding of a basic flavour.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the chefs nowadays are missing that. You know, in a lot of our restaurants that we've got now, or the two that we have, is that we want to bring these young kids in and we want to teach this part of the basics, because nowadays a chef can go and work somewhere, you know, as a line cook for a year, and then they want to come outside and be a head chef in a restaurant, you know, and it just puts a shame to the industry. It's a shame for the clientele as well that come in, because, you know, there's nothing better than eating a chef's food or a menu that, you know, he's passionately learned and created over the last, you know, 3 to 6 months. Some dishes can take over a year to create, you know, so we want to bring that understanding of the basics back and really bring that apprenticeship back into the industry, which I think it's missing. So these guys, when I was working with them, are, you know, they're next level, you know, and the understanding that we get from them of flavours and how to finish sauces and just different ingredients, you know, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like even just the last couple of weeks of just like talking to, you know, guys like yourself and other guys who have been cooks or have been working in different restaurants. Like my cooking game has like gone up a crazy notch. Like it's next level. Yeah, and I mean it's nothing crazy, but just like understanding how to do things and why you're doing it. And I think that's what people are sometimes missing, especially when it comes from like a personal training background, and you want people to adhere to a diet and you want them to enjoy it. Like if they don't know how to cook, chances are they're really going to struggle. So I think that's why it's good to kind of have you on. So just quickly, before we kind of move in, I thought I'd just kind of ask, and I know we just covered it, but for the guys listening, you mentioned earlier, you kind of run 2 restaurants in Leeds, right?
One in Leeds, one in Harrogate, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Actually, I heard my roommate said that you had one in Harrogate, actually. But I guess just quickly, how's kind of isolation been, and how's that impacted you guys? Have been pretty kind of tough.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in the same boat as everyone else. I think, you know, whether it's a restaurant or, you know, a consultant company, managers and offices, these things, everybody's in the same boat. But, you know, our industry, we've got, you know, over 40 people that work for us. You know, and our main focus with me and my business partner says we want to look after them. You know, we've got some help from the government, which we're all grateful for, but it's about moving forward and how we can come together. And I think this goes out to everybody in the same industry as we're in, that how we're going to get out this and move forward, because it's not just going to be a 6 to 8 week thing where it's all over and we go back to normal. It's, you know, it could take up to several months. So it has impacted us quite substantially. But, you know, we're chefs, we're in the hospitality game. You know, we act well under pressure and we act well against challenges. So it's about coming up with new innovations and ideas of using this as a positive and coming out strong at the end.
Defo. And I mean, I know you mentioned it earlier, and I'll get you to mention it at the end, but Lee does, you know, for the guys around the Leeds kind of Harrogate area, Lee does this pretty cool thing right now where you can buy meals, they're delivered to you, and you essentially get all the ingredients. You basically know how to cook like a chef by the end of it, don't you? In a way, like you kind of get quality meals.
I mean, look, everybody can cook. Everybody's, you know, we're born all to cook, but, you know, it's that little secret thing, that special thing that can make you a chef. So we're giving you the food that we would do in the restaurants in the same way how we would produce it every single day, you know, for service, and we're giving it to you guys to do it at home. And, you know, it's something a bit more exciting. And I mean, like you're in the gym scene, so, you know, when you do a workout, you feel something that you've achieved at the end of the day. So it's kind of the same principle where cooking, you know, a meal, you feel like you've achieved something that day, and it's a good feeling to have, and it just keeps people in a positive mindset. And again, it's, good tasty food that something you might not feel comfortable trying. You can get to try it at home with the step-by-step instructions, and you feel like you're on that step to becoming a master chef.
Yeah, that is true. Honestly, the feeling I've been getting just cooking random meals has been unreal. And I think that's kind of one of the positives that's come out of it for me. And, just like my missus and our housemate is like, we're just enjoying food a lot more.
Yeah.
And before, you're just on the go all the time. If anything, it's made me realize when things get back to normal, and hopefully when they do get back to normal soon, is I'm actually going to take the time to just enjoy my food, cook it more, try recipes out, botch it if I botch it, whatever. But it's like anything else, it's a skill, right? So no, that's great. So I think that kind of leads into just some of the bits that I sent over. The one big one that for some reason I'm super curious about, and I don't really care if other people aren't, but it's flavor. And I know you talked about it, but kind of like what's like a big thing that you kind of see people do when it comes to flavoring or seasoning, and you're kind of thinking, you probably shouldn't do that?
I mean, look, for me, the basic principle is, salt is going to enhance the food and pepper is going to change the flavor. So you need to step back and look at what does food taste like, and I think a lot of people forget what a tomato, a cucumber, what these things taste like as they are. The simple thing to look at, if you take a tomato, you slice it, you eat it, it just tastes pretty like a tomato. But if you add salt, then try it, the flavour soon changed. If you then put it under the grill and grill it, the flavour then changes again. So you need to find the right fundamentals to get to where you want to go with the food. You look at Asian cuisine and they do a lot of, sweet, sour, salty. These things always come against each other. So if you're cooking something that's too salty, if you add a sour element, it's going to balance it out. And vice versa, if something's too sour, you add a sweet element. So, the most important thing in cooking is you always taste your food as you're going along. So if you're cooking at home some rice, a risotto, some soup, whatever it is you're cooking, every time you do something, try it. And you should be seasoning food at least 5 times throughout the cooking process, because you're building up the flavours. Flavours change through cooking. Things boil away, flavour comes out through steam. So it's about just always trying and tasting your food.
Okay.
And everybody's palate's different.
Would that be different as well? And I'm assuming, I don't know, I'm just asking questions like as if one, I don't know for sure, and then other people might not know. But will that make a big difference too regarding the heat? So let's say if I'm just like, cooking low heat versus cooking super high heat, because obviously like Asian cuisine, as an example, might be a little bit higher heat, right? Like if you're doing stir fries and stuff. Is that seasoning going to be more aggressive? Is it going to be less aggressive, or is it kind of the same?
It's kind of the same. You need to remember, things that are fast cooked, the season's not going to have time to cook through or cook out. If you're going to do something low and slow or long cook, like a joint of meat or vegetables or a hot pot, is that all that flavour and proteins and natural sugars of the meat and the vegetables are coming out, so the flavour will change. If you're going to quick stir fry things, it's more of a freshness. So you wanted to add like something of a salt and a sour element to help contrast with the sweetness of the vegetables. So a lot of these cooking in Asian, they'll add pieces of palm sugar, like fish sauce, soy sauce, and some sort of vinegar, rice vinegar, these sort of things. Whereas if you braise something for a long time, you'll add these sour elements towards the end, So if it's some lamb, you want to add some sherry vinegar, some fresh herbs. So again, it's about the natural sugars that are coming out through the process of long cooking, and then the natural sugars staying inside for the short cooking.
Okay. What do you think? Because I think it's funny to listen, like hearing chefs talk about it, because you make it sound so simple, right? But for someone like me who's kind of like, okay, what would be considered like the certain tastes of food, all right? Like you said, you mentioned like sweet, savory, salty, and then what's the other? Isn't there a 5 in Asian cuisine?
Yeah, so there's that hot element as well. So
yeah.
When I cook at home, I've always got sherry vinegar in my cupboard, because I like to finish stuff with this, and it's great in salads, for dressings, in sauces, even in a little bit of soup, because it just lifts. It's almost like, people talk about MSGs, how much it's a bad thing, but things like Parmesan cheese, different types of seared meats, they produce natural MSG, and that's what gives you that, umami flavour in food. So, it's about, you could go so deep into the understanding of flavors, but, why would you, if you eat a piece of boiled chicken or you roast or sear a piece of chicken, the flavor is completely night and day, so you just need to understand what it is you want to look for in that. Learning the idea of the basics of flavor is starting from the raw product, A grilled piece of asparagus is going to taste different, almost like a caramel because the sugar's inside it this time of year. But if you boil it, it's going to be so sweet. So that's understanding the ingredient back from its natural, process.
So would you say for you, like, sorry, mate, I didn't mean to cut you off, but, for, I guess just somebody who wants to get a little bit better at it, would you just say the best thing to do is, like you mentioned, take something raw, eat it, taste it, put some stuff on it, try to taste the difference, cook with it, try different shit, and basically just go, cool, like, now I get it. Now I understand why this tomato tastes different if I sear it, if I whatever, like put salt on it or whatever, like, you know what I mean? Just trial and error kind of thing.
Exactly. I mean, just that's the whole idea. You need to understand food, and that's where people miss out a little bit. Peas, frozen peas are great, but this time of year you have fresh peas and they taste completely different, A good tip that I use is a lot of green stuff. If you're going to cook it, you either cook it fast, stir fry, or sort of boil or blanch it quickly, and that retains all the sweetness. When you cook green veg a little bit longer, it starts to char and caramelize, so it can be a little bit bitter.
Okay.
So that's a tip I'd use because now you've got so many good green stuffs about in springtime.
Awesome. And I think you just mentioned something about like this time of year. Are you big in terms of having seasonal veg and like seasonal foods based on the time of year?
100%. I mean, look, it's a bit different now because the world's a bit of a standstill hold, but all our menus we do seasonality because that's the best time. That's the best time for lamb, for peas. Strawberries have just came out now. They're going to be so delicious because it's the time of year that they grow. You can grow a strawberry all year round, but it just tastes like water. You get a strawberry now that's grown in its season and it's so sweet and it tastes like a strawberry.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
That is a game changer.
There's nothing worse than getting a fresh batch of strawberries and you taste it and you just can't taste it. You're just like, what the fuck is this?
Like eating a radish, you go, yeah. So, and it's good, for people like yourself who are, into the gym, and nutrition's so important, and, cooking food fresh and knowing what it comes from and knowing the seasonality, you're going to get the best nutrients out at the moment. My fridge right now is always going to have lamb, sea bass, strawberries, peas, asparagus. It's always in the fridge. Potatoes are coming in now, which are delicious. You can get potatoes all year round, but certain potatoes grow this time of year and they're fantastic.
Yeah. So the best thing to do probably is actually, well, if you have the time and you want to have a bit of like a variety in your diet. And I read something not long ago, I think it's Japan, I might be wrong here, but some of the places in the world where people live the longest have the most variety of food. So I guess let's say whatever I just said, if that's actually true, it'd be probably good for you to kind of maybe be seasonal with your food and your veg and knowing what's in season and why. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there. But yeah, cool. That's cool. I'm definitely going to have a bit of a look. I'm going to have a bit of a Google. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, just, Google it. Just put, fruit and vegetables in season now and you'll get a list. There's always charts. And I mean, look, winter time, you're going to get carrots and swedes and these sort of darker, earthier sort of fruits and vegetables. And spring and summer's all about sunshine. So, peaches and strawberries and berries and these things, peas, asparagus, it's all good.
Good show. I just had a random thought come in my head, and I thought I'd ask you because my mom was huge on this when I was in high school. Did you ever hear about the whole you have to eat food within 10 kilometers from your house kind of diet?
I mean, yeah, we when I grew up in Scotland on the west coast, we were in a little shitty village, but it was beautiful. And everywhere you go, there's farms, there's cows, there's sheep, there's potatoes, there's chickens, there's everything. So, you grow up eating this thing, it's the norm. A lot of people who grow up in the cities, the norm is, tomatoes in winter and everything's there on the plate, so you don't really understand it. you're still going to get, the value and nutrition out of it, but the flavor, and we eat food for flavor. It's not a hobby, it's not a chore. You do need to eat to live, but you need to enjoy what you eat, and especially times now, you're stuck inside all day. You don't want to have a bad meal with your friends, your partner, and then you're like, this is fucking shit. I'm stuck in the house. I've had a shit meal.
Yeah.
I want out. So
yeah. God, it's so funny you say that, because literally we had a meal last night, and I'm not even kidding. 10 minutes after, we're like, what are we making tomorrow night? And it's like, we're already looking forward to it. I was like, Jesus Christ. All right, cool.
That's the mind of a chef, mate. If you're eating your dinner, your lunch, and thinking about the next meal, then you're already on the right track to being a chef.
Yeah, well, we did last week. We did we did a chicken biryani, which we've never done, so that was cool.
Nice.
Did it with another chef who just kind of did it live with me and Reese and the other coach that I do stuff with. But yeah, it was cool. So like all these kind of bits, man, you just learn things that you wouldn't have known before, and it's awesome. My missus even told her parents yesterday on FaceTime. She's like, Dan's legitimately a good cook now, and she never would have said that before. So yeah.
It's a good thing.
So just a quick one on. And I never heard about this term before until my housemate mentioned it, fakeaways, right? So I don't know. And again, I think you're obviously doing a pretty cool thing with probably, I wouldn't call it a takeaway. It's just like a very awesome idea when it comes to like, meals that are designed by you and your team that are high quality and delivered to the door. So I wouldn't call that a fake away. I'd call that a exclusive meal of some sort. But I guess what's kind of like maybe a few examples of something you could do that could be considered a fake away?
I mean, look, like you said, we're doing the Fura Alba, so we're doing meals that can come to your door. It comes, in a little pack envelope like this. You've got all the recipes. We do pictures, recipes, all these things for you to follow. So it is like a takeaway, but if you're at home and you want something like that, I mean, I'm the type of guy that if I'm in the restaurants, I'm cooking all day, using amazing products, caviars and different types of fish and, foie gras and these things. And then I'm at home, I want to have a glass of wine, watch the telly and just cook something quick. So I do a lot of sort of one pot cooking. So these sort of things you can, you don't need much. If you want to do chicken and rice, it's just all about throwing everything into one pot, doing it in the right methods and balances, and you can be eating a quick fast food meal in 30 minutes from raw.
So what would you do for your pot kind of recipe for your chicken?
Okay, so a simple one you want is get a cup of rice, wash the rice, throw it in a casserole dish. Get 2 cups of stock, or if you don't have stock, what I do is just do 2 cups of water from the tap, like a Knorr stock pot or a stock cube. Throw that in, slice up an onion, grate in a piece of garlic, the same amount of ginger, teaspoon of soy sauce, teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, a little bit of salt and pepper. Throw some herbs in there, whatever you've got knocking about, and then either if you're doing a whole chicken, I would spatchcock it, so remove the spine from the back with scissors. It's pretty easy. You just open it like a book. Or if you're using chicken legs or thighs on the bone, just rub them with a little bit of oil, season them up. You can add some chipotle chili, some herbs on top, lay them on top of the rice, cover it with foil, preheated oven at 220, throw it in 15 minutes, bring it out, remove the foil, and then throw it back in for 20 minutes. And that's it. You don't even need to use a chopping board. You can grate the onion in, you can grate in the ginger and the garlic, and you've got a simple nutritional meal, in 30 minutes.
So you could do that with any chicken breast, chicken thigh, chicken leg, whole chicken.
Yeah, anything you want. I mean, look, my favorite part of the chicken is the thighs, because it's got the most flavor. Chicken breast, it's good, but it's a bit lean. So it doesn't, hold a lot of flavor. You need to remember that, fat is flavor. And, the fat and sinew you get in chicken legs is going to put a bit of flavor in there. But if you want to use chicken breast, yeah, do the same. I would just leave the foil on for the whole cooking process though. That way the chicken breast will stay moist. The reason I remove the foil is I want that skin to get a bit crispy. And then at the end, you can just throw in a handful of peas, some fresh herbs, and just mix it up. And you've got this fluffy rice, but you get these sort of crunchy gnarly bits around the sort of casserole pan, which is just delicious to eat.
Yeah.
When they're like cold.
No, yeah, that sounds good. It kind of sounds in a way similar to a biryani dish.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I mean, look, the easiest way of cooking is you need to remember that if you're going to do anything with a pulse, where it will be a rice or a pasta, if you're going to use beans, soak them the night before, but always do the ratio. Whatever cup of dry product, you add 2 cups of wet, and you can do it with potatoes. Do the same, and just get everything in the pot. You know, people have got slow cookers at home, but you know, you can use the same idea. But ovens are just as good. You know, you're getting flavour, caramelization, all these things act and build up.
So just to summarize again what you just mentioned. So you said you chuck it all in, and then you said you put tinfoil over, or you wrap the chicken in tinfoil.
So you put tinfoil over the dish. So if you have a casserole pot, just put the lid on. If you don't, you can use like an oven tray. If you don't even have an oven tray, you know, just use a fucking frying pan.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, people that live alone or at uni or, you know, they work, they don't have the basic stuff at home. They might just have a frying pan, a chopping board, and one knife. So this type of cooking is easy, you know, and it is the level. Look, as soon as you take something and put it in a pan, you're cooking. You put it in an oven, you're cooking. You add it to what you're cooking. So when people say they can't cook, everybody can cook, but it just takes a little bit more of a understanding to, you know, to say that you're a chef.
Is it true that the bottom of the pan, the thicker it is, the better it is for like conducting heat?
Yeah, so cast iron pans, these are great. And you never really wash one. You never you just wipe it out with like some warm water. You know, I've known some chefs and you know, when I worked in the Middle East and even in the Mediterranean, you know, I've known old women at like 90 years old that have still had the same cast iron pan for the last 60 years. And it's like, wow. It builds up flavor, you know, and it's like, it's just different from like using a new one to an old one, because it ages and it just adds flavor, which, you know, it's pretty crazy to think.
Yeah, because I need to get the pans that you can put in the oven. That's my next purchase. So
yeah, if you guys go online, if you just type in cast iron pan, I know Nisbets, they sell them. You can pick one up for about 30 quid and it will last you forever. Cool. But you know, grilling steaks, cooking stuff in the oven, just anything, you know, baked eggs, you know, there's so much, they're so versatile.
Perfect. Yeah, because I definitely need, it just makes life easier. And it's like you said, it's like if you don't have a pan, or if you don't have a dish, you don't have a casserole dish, you can just put your pan in the oven and do basically the exact same recipe. Yeah. So, or if you've got nothing, then you know you're fucked. You need to go buy a pan. Just get off your ass and buy a pan and buy a knife. Yeah. That's my next question. What would you say for knives? Because like you can buy so many shit knives. You can go on like Groupon. I'm pretty sure I've got the same set I bought on Groupon like 3 years ago when I moved to the UK 4 years ago. Like where should I go for, like, how do I know a good knife's a good knife? Yeah, so for me, what I'd say to you, you know, when we get new chefs coming through the door, you can go and spend £5,000 on one knife. Yeah, or you can go buy a set of knives for, you know, 60 quid. I would say if people starting off, a good knife is a Victorinox knife. So Victoria Knox, again, you can get them online. It's a good steel. It lasts a really, really long time. And all you need is a sharpening steel, a cook's knife, and a paring knife, so a small prep knife. And that's enough for you to get going on your culinary adventure. Cool. I'm going to have a look at that as soon as I'm done. Yeah, and the price range is they're so good. You know, you can pick a knife up for like 30 quid, but it's a proper, you know, most chefs I know still use these knives and they've still got them. In fact, I think I've still got a Victoria knife when I started 16 years ago, and it's cool. It's still with me. Yeah, no, that's good. That was really good to know, because I think, again, it's like I think you can get carried away when you start diving into the rabbit holes when it comes to anything, especially cooking. And it's like you said, I'm sure there's people out there that are going, Jesus Christ, $2,000 for a set of knives. And then next thing you know, they get it and they're just like, don't even know. Yeah. I mean, it's important as well to just keep the knife sharp, because the most dangerous tool in the kitchen is a blunt knife, you know.
because that's, if it's blunt, it's going to slide and it's going to come into your fingers. It's not going to cut clean. So the sharper the knife, the safer it is. You know, and it's pretty easy. You can go on YouTube and learn how to sharpen a knife. It's just it's a simple process, and you know, don't rush things like you know, you see chefs doing it so fast. You know, just take your time. There's no race in it. You're not in a restaurant. There's not a chef like me shouting at you how long for the fucking carrots, or you know, there's none of that. You're in your house, just open a glass of wine and just chill.
Yeah, no, that's a really good shout. And I think a lot of people probably, I mean, since you've just said it, it just clicked in my head. I was like, yeah, actually the sharper the knife, probably the safer it actually is. Really. Because the amount of times I've tried to cut something in the last couple of weeks and I'm just like, holy Christ, just not cutting it. And then you're there trying to force your way.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean,
I've
seen some crazy accidents with blunt knives. So.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet you've seen some stuff. Cool. So a few kind of other bits. I thought we'd maybe chat about. Cupboard cooking's been a big one because I think a lot of people are just like, I don't know. It happens here all the time when the girls are like, oh, we don't have anything, and then I look and I'm like, what do you mean? The cupboard's full, the freezer's full. But we're just like, we don't have the creativity, I guess, with the stuff. And again, it comes back to knowing your ingredients, knowing what things taste like. But I guess like, what would be just some easy kind of bits you can maybe do cupboard cooking wise that people are probably thinking, oh, I can't spice up tuna, or I can't do this or do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always got garlic. I've always got butter. I've always got some sort of sherry vinegar or rice vinegar. Salt and pepper, and you know, I've always got stock pots, I mean, I'm not going to spend 20 hours making a stock in my house. You know, that's what the restaurants are for. You know, at home, you want to be cooking good, fast quality food. So these are a staple. And again, rice, you know, I've always got rice, I've always got pasta and stuff. So, you know, you can, with a couple of vegetables, you know, and a bit of butter, a bit of garlic, you can cook a nice vegetarian rice dish, you know. And the best term I use, I was talking to Jez the other day, you know, Big Jez. We're talking about cooking, and he was saying that he's someone he knows, I won't mention names, just threw a piece of meat in a cold pan. And it's like, he's saying, you don't do this, you need to get the pan hot and so and so. And, you know, and it's like, when you create a dish or you create something to eat, it's like a girl putting makeup on, you know, you build it up in layers. You don't just throw it all on and expect it to be beautiful, you know. You need to take the time and build it up in layers and get that beautiful product at the end, you know. So
that's a good analogy. I'm going to keep that one.
Keep that one, you know. And I'm sure, you know, all women are beautiful without makeup. You know, my partner, she's so beautiful without makeup. But, you know, sometimes you want to eat a tasty meal and you want to layer that makeup on and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's funny. That's good. You know, with like, because I actually had veggie recipes down. I know you just mentioned that quick little veggie recipe. How would you go about just like making a quick little veggie recipe?
You know, things like sweet potato are good because they absorb good flavour. They break down and get crispy. Aubergines, you know, a quick one, if you want to do a quick dip, you can just roast some aubergines in the oven with a bit of olive oil and garlic and some foil, and then just, you know, bring it out, beat it up, mash it up with a little bit of creme fraiche, salt and pepper, and it's great with like flatbreads. Or if you want something a bit more hearty, you know, go back to the one pot cooking, you know, putting some sweet potatoes. If you use a lot of your darker vegetables first, so like if it's carrots or aubergines, butternut squash, sweet potatoes, these things, cook them first, and then towards the end, the sort of last 10 minutes of cooking, throw in your green veg. One, it's going to keep all the nutritions in the green veg, and again, it's going to look colourful. You know, green veg doesn't take long to cook. You know, when I was growing up, my mum used to cook broccoli for 40 minutes, and it was that overcooked that you would touch it with your fork and it just disintegrate. You know, broccoli takes like boiling water 7 minutes, not long. You know, so yeah, all your green veg at the end, and you get that nice fresh flavours coming out.
Awesome. I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying I cook a lot of vegetarian food at home, and again, it's just sort of one pan sort of dishes. You know, things like soup. You can do a nice Tuscan bean summer soup. You know, if if you get a tin of already cooked cannellini beans, just do the same. Cook down some cabbage, celery, garlic, onion, a bit of stock, cook it out and throw your beans in, and 40, 50 minutes, an hour, you've got a nice sort of Tuscan bean, sort of Spanish, Italian style soup.
Awesome. I think that's one thing I probably don't do, I do what your mom does. It is just cook things way too long, especially when it comes to veg. So I think that's probably one thing I've just made a mental note of. The darker the veg, probably cook it a little bit longer, and then probably the lighter, the more greeny veg towards the end, so I don't taste and everything.
That's exactly what to do. So anything you do, stews, soups, broths, anything pastas, just at the end, just throw in your green.
And I guess this comes back to what you said earlier about you're always kind of maybe seasoning over time. And I know it's not necessarily seasoning, but you're like adding throughout time, aren't you?
Yeah, of course. You're always, anything you add in that pot, you're adding flavor. So just go along. Yeah.
Awesome.
Everything about cooking everything about anything in life is about trial and error, and I've so many dishes that I create. They all need to start somewhere. I don't just go, I've got a dish, I'm going to cook it.
Yeah.
You need to try it and see what goes with what. And, that's the fun thing about food and cooking at home, is, you can really give it a go.
Cool. You know what? I just had another thought in my head. When it comes to salt, like, what's the best salt that are you using different salt? Are you using Himalayan salt? Are you using table salt? Are you using sea salt? Like, what are you using?
Yeah, so the salt I always use is Maldon sea salt. I don't use any, I hate table salt. It's not been refined, so it's almost like natural, but it's got a nice flavor. I mean, salt, when you know a good salt, you can eat salt as it is. The best salt I've ever used in the world is it's a Murray River salt from Australia. So it comes from a river, but it's like a pink colour, and it's delicious. But here I use Maldon sea salt. You can get it in any supermarket, and it's good. Salt, your body needs salt, and again, it enhances the flavour of food. Anything,
Yeah, and you just have it in a little bowl, and you just kind of like.
Yeah, I've got a little salt box at home, so.
Cool.
Just beside the oven. But yeah, I mean, it's good with anything: chocolate, toffee, caramel, and desserts. So
perfect. I like that. That was good to know, because I was just thinking, I was like, we're talking a lot about seasoning, and it's one thing I actually hadn't asked the other guys yet. So that's really helpful.
Yeah. Everybody should get their table salt now and just go and throw it out the window. Throw it out the window, get it to fuck. Go buy some Maldon sea salt. It'll change your life.
Yeah, I'll chuck it. I'll see what my neighbor says when I ping the house. Awesome. In terms of batch cooking, because I think this is when things get back to reality a little bit, and we start potentially meal prepping. I think the pot cooking you mentioned is going to be a game changer for me. Like, already I was just thinking about everything I could do, because can you do that? Like, obviously not. You can do that with what? Meat, lamb, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean. Things like, so remember, if you look at an animal, the best way to look at it is you look at an animal, what part of the animal does it use a lot more of? So, simple term is in weight training or in fitness, you're using your arms, your legs quite a lot. So these things, if we were to cook them, are going to take a little bit longer to cook. Things that use less, like, fillet steak, sirloin steak, ribeye steak, lamb chops, these things are in the center. So it's not really doing much work. So they're going to be pretty quick to cook, So if you want to do the same dish with the rice and lamb, get a shoulder of lamb and do the same thing. I'd add a little bit more stock, maybe an extra cup, and then I cook it for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, but a lot lower, so 140 degrees. So things like, a shoulder of beef or the neck of beef, neck of lamb, leg of lamb, these things. Things like chicken, I do them at higher heat, so 200, 220, they're going to cook pretty quick. Anything red meat, which is a braising joint, 140. I mean, low and slow. You could put it in at 120 degrees. You could go out and go to the gym, do your thing all day, do your work, do your training, come back for lunch 4 or 5 hours later, and it's going to be delicious. It's going to be absolutely delicious.
That's where the slow cookers probably come in.
Yeah, it's great. And if you don't have one, your oven, just set it right down to, 110 degrees. It's going to cook. We do a lot of cooking in the restaurants. Some things take 3 days, 36 hours. Some stuff, like ribs of beef, we do it at 75 degrees and we just cook it for like 36 hours. And it's just unbelievable, the taste, because it's like, you need to think about, if you go in a nice warm bath after 30 minutes, some people sit in a bath for an hour because of that relax. You come out, you're so chilled and relaxed and tender. If you go in a hot bath, you're so tight, and you come out, you're like, fucking hell, man, you're all tight and you're going to be chewy, you want to come out, nice and tender.
I like it. Man, people are going to remember that. That's great. More of a selfish question now, because we're talking about meat and I'm just thinking about food now. So I want to cook ribs on my barbecue. I've got one of those Weber ones I can smoke, right?
Nice.
And it's been on my list to do ever since I fucking got it like a year and a half ago. I barbecue a lot and I've been like messing around with it. What would be like an easy kind of rub or marinating recipe for that, for ribs?
I mean, yeah, so I will look at doing a dry rub. Things with pork. So anything with pork, what I would recommend and what I love is things like fennel, a bit of cumin seed, a bit of coriander seed, and a little bit of chipotle. So it's like a smoked Mexican pepper, and just rub that down. You can get a little bit of, now people tend to use a dry garlic. Just use fresh garlic. It's going to add moisture. Rub that all down. If you toast off your spices first in the pan, just until they start smoking, pesto and water, just grind that all down and just rub that through your ribs. Leave it for 20 minutes, leave it overnight, and then just cook them on the barbecue. Or if you don't have a barbecue at home, you can do it in the oven. And again, if you do it low and slow, it's just going to fall off the bone.
Is it true? I remember when I had Sam Fisk on, he's a chef down in London. He was saying sometimes his friends call him and go, how much should I season this? And he goes, season it once, then season it again. And then when you think you've seasoned it, season it again.
Yeah. I mean, it's all different. You need to understand that all meat's going to season different. Big thing that we teach you guys in here is, a piece of steak. If you have a 300 gram ribeye one day and, you have another 300 gram ribeye, it's not going to taste or cook the same time. It might be the same weight, but it's different. It loses, when you dry age meat, a lot of the moisture comes out, but intensifies the flavor. It's going to cook less. Whether you have a fresher piece of beef that's not been aged, it cooks a little bit longer, and the flavor could be a little bit different. So you want to add a little bit more salt. But again, I always say this to the guys in the work, that salt, it just enhances the flavor. It doesn't change it. It's just going to enhance the flavor. If you add too much, you're going to fuck it. But you need to feel the salt. Like it sounds silly, but I can pick up salt in my hands and know how much I can taste something and know how much salt it's going to need. But that's because, I've been doing it for 16 years. Yeah. I mean, you can probably see somebody training an exercise and say exactly where they're going wrong or exactly what they need to do to hit that point, where I would be like, shit, this is what I think you do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all different in everybody's thing, but food's just about understanding it and taking the time just to look at what you've got and what you can do.
100%. And I think, again, just because I'm thinking about stuff as you say, with meat, right? Because I think this is one I always wonder, like, let's say red meat, like a steak, whatever cut of steak. Are you always trying to sear it, like, before?
Yeah. I mean, look, you sear meat. Now, people say you sear meat to lock in the flavor. It's bullshit. You don't lock in any flavor. You sear meat to add flavor. And it's that caramelization sear is, again, going back to what I was saying about MSG. Now, MSG, factory made, is so bad for you, sugar, refined sugar, factory made is bad for you, but, pure sugars are good for you. And natural MSG is flavor, and that's what's delicious in food. So when you sear meat, you're adding flavor. When you do a pie or a stew at home, you sear that meat in the pan, because all that dark gnarly stuff that's going to stick to the meat and stick to the pan, when you deglaze that with the wine, that's flavors going into that sauce. So after 4, 6, 12 hours, how long you want to cook it for, the longer and slower you do it, the more delicious it's getting, you know. So I would always sear fish. Yeah.
I was going to ask you, fish, like even like chicken, pork, all that kind of stuff, depending obviously the recipe, but I think don't be afraid to sear it, basically.
Don't be seared, yeah. Again, that's you adding, you know, after the salt and the pepper, that's the second part of flavour you're adding, you know. And then, you know, if you're cooking a steak, hot pan, olive oil in the pan, you know, if you want a 10-ounce steak, 300-gram steak at home, it's going to take about 3 minutes each side. And the most important part of cooking of any steak is rest. You rest the meat because, again, it's continuing to cook. And that's going to relax, and all that juice is going to stay inside the steak, you know. And we always finish the steak, the last part of cooking. So when you flip it for the second time for 3 minutes, the last minute, nice big knob of butter, because again, butter's flavour and delicious. Some thyme, some garlic, and just baste it over the meat, and then the butter will start to get nutty and caramelised, and again, you're adding more flavour to the steak. And then
That's a good tip. I'm definitely doing that next steak. I've never ever done that. Put butter on it and then just like baste it.
Garlic and thyme is the best smell and the flavour combination ever. I mean, I'd put it on cereal, but my missus would SeaWorld and say, what are you doing?
That's hilarious. Okay, cool. No, that's really helpful, man. Probably kind of just the last few bits, really, and then we'll finish up with a bit of a quick fire round, because I always just kind of like to put you guys on the spot. What's the 3 things that you think everyone should have in their cupboard or like in their kitchen?
Garlic, thyme, and butter. Yeah.
Just for steak. Just fuck everything else.
I mean, no. I mean, look, anything. If you you slice an onion and you put some butter in the pan, you throw the onion in, you throw some thyme and garlic, and you cook that down for 10 minutes, that is some fucking delicious smelling food. And, you know, put that on anything, mix it with some rice, steam rice, and you mix that with rice, it's delicious. You know, you can cook, butter is a great flavour. I mean, I like olive oil as well, but, you know, butter is there's nothing wrong with a little bit of butter in your diet. You know, I'm not saying go to the fridge and just start eating butter with a spoon.
Yeah.
But, you know, butter is flavour, and you get a lot of nice nutty flavour out of butter when you start to bubble and caramelise it, which is delicious.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep that one in mind too, in the back pocket. My missus would be like, why you add butter to fucking everything? Be like, don't worry about it. Wait till you taste it.
I mean, I cook my eggs. When I fry eggs, it's only in butter, no oil.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that was a game changer for me with scrambled eggs. It's like adding butter like throughout and like taking it off the heat and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Watched a few Gordon Ramsay videos back in my day, man. So I'm trying to watch different people, but like there's just certain people I just can't be asked watching. I don't know why. So if you have any recommendations, throw them my way. I
mean, look, I love watching Rick Stein. You know,
okay.
I grew up watching Rick Stein. I mean, Keith Floyd as well. But yeah, I mean, look, everybody cooks different. You know, I'm not going to say this is how you cook your fucking scrambled eggs. I would suggest this is how you do it. But whatever you feel comfortable doing along them guidelines, do it your own way. You know, and that's the joy about cooking is recipes are just there to give you an idea, you know, and an understanding. You can do whatever way you want to do it. You know, mix it up.
100%. Awesome. All right, Matt. Well, listen, I know you're working today, so you took the time out of your day to do this, which is awesome. So really appreciate it. We're gonna finish off with a bit of a quick fire round. So I just throw questions at you, and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Right.
So what's your go-to meal?
Chicken and rice.
Just in the pot, right?
Yeah, a bit Asian style though. I'll do it a bit more Asian style, so it's that same style, but yeah.
Okay. So just to help the people out, what are you putting in that Asian style? Because I'm probably gonna.
Okay, so yes, when you're cooking your rice, when you're steaming it in the oven, I would do the pint of stock, and then do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon Worcestershire sauce, garlic, ginger, and that's it, and pour that in.
That's in the rice.
Yeah, it's in the rice. And then on the chicken, I'd soak my chicken in like rice wine vinegar, mirin, soy sauce, sliced garlic, parsley stalks, ginger, a little bit of water, soy sauce, and just soak that for like I mean, you can do it overnight. You can do it for an hour. Take it out and then just put it on top.
Perfect. I think that's a big one too. I've learned the last couple of weeks is how to make my own sauces for like marinades.
Yeah.
The more you start figuring it out, that it's pretty straightforward and like it's a lot healthier too, isn't it?
It's good. And again, the easiest, simple way to do it, even for a dressing, if you want to make a nice salad dressing, is always, I use the ratio 3-to-1. So 3 parts of oil to 1 part of whatever citrus vinegar you want. You can do a citronette dressing with orange, lemon, and grapefruits, and just do 3-to-1. And then if you're doing a marinade at home, I always use the same method of 1-to-1. So 1 part honey, 1 part soy, 1 part sugar, 1 part vinegar. These are all going to balance out like it's foolproof.
Cool. So what was it? Citrus and is it sweet? You said?
So yes. If you want to do a dressing, so it's 3 parts oil, so olive oil to 1 part citrus, and that can be vinegar, and then sea salt. And then if you want to do a marinade for any chicken or pork or meat, just do 1-1-1. So you can do one part soy sauce, 1 part vinegar, 1 part honey or sugar,
Got you.
and then just garlic and ginger, whatever spices you want to put in. But them 3 basic 1 parts will give you that sweet, salty sourness.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. Perfect. What's going to be your first place you're going on holiday as soon as all this shit's over?
Probably back to Dublin, man, for a good pint of fucking Guinness. That's what Guinness.
Nice. Missing it already, eh?
I mean, the cans are just not the same.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You do notice a big difference. You do notice. What's your favorite cuisine?
Asian.
Okay. How come? Just because there's a million different things going on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I grew up. I was classically trained in French kitchens, so I was brought up the classic fundamental of, long, slow, laborious cooking. And then the Asian way is just so much fresher and cleaner, but the flavors are just so robust, and you can fuck it up completely. But if you do it the right way, it's just, unbelievable. And, that's all through Asia, Japanese, China, Southeast Asia. The cuisine is just endless, and it's just delicious.
Yeah, it really is.
We play a lot. We play a lot of it in our sort of cooking now, where, some recipes that I was taught to cook in the classic French way, you can adapt now, and we add that little bit of a twist in it, and that Asian or South American influence. And again, that is what cooking is. It's being versatile and adapting to change, and the world's changing and flavors are changing. And, there's, like I said before, I'm not saying that's how you cook it. I'm just giving you an idea. This is how you should cook it. But if you want to add something else to it, then fucking do it,
Yeah, definitely.
You like.
100%. Cool. I like that. Yes or no to lobster?
Yes.
Yeah. I was going to say, have you ever had the East Coast Canada lobster before?
Yeah, we buy them when the season closes in the UK. We buy them from Canada. I mean, I love lobster.
Oh, it's delicious.
I don't know how many lobsters I've cooked in my life, but I've millions. Took a lot of soft lobsters.
Yeah, that's the one thing I miss from home, man. Like every time we go home, we just always get lobster. Lobster, mussels, oysters, man. For some reason, it's like a little gold mine on the East Coast no one really knows about.
Yeah.
I think chefs obviously do because you guys buy it from like Maine and East Coast of Canada, but
yeah, we get it from you guys. And we fucking eat all of ours and the season's done. We just come and take it off you. Yeah. I mean, it's just the Boston lobsters, the Maine lobsters the flavor's different, but they're just so fucking delicious. Like sweet or like soups and just grilling it in salads and, the flavor. What people tend to forget is that the meat doesn't have much flavor other than sweet. But if you use the shells in soups and sauces, it's so, intense and unique, the flavor, and there's so much you can get out of it, So,
I did not know that. My mom listens to every single podcast, so I guarantee you she's going to be like, oh, really? You can put that in the shells.
Well, I've got a good recipe for a lobster bisque if she wants it.
Yeah, my mom's actually a decent chef, to be fair. But yeah, she'll listen to this, so she'll be like, okay, I'll try some stuff out. Different topic now. What's your favorite go-to casual pair of shoes?
Probably my Adidas copper trainers.
All right. Any reason why?
They're just comfortable.
Yeah.
I've had them for a while, and they just, you know, they're just comfy.
Nice. A lot of people have been saying Yeezys, so I thought you might have said Yeezys.
I mean, no, I mean, look, I've tried Yeezys, but look, mate, I've got fucking chef feet, right? And my toes are like a fucking velociraptor. So when I wear a Yeezy, you can kind of see it's like I've got toes for hands. I don't know why I'm telling you this. They pop out, and I'm like, it just looks fucking stupid. So, you know, Copper, Adidas all the way.
Nice. Nice. So Adidas, if you're listening, you know, one day.
Adidas, man.
Sponsor the guy. Guinness and Adidas. You're set for life.
Right.
I had one more for her, but I kind of, where's the first place outside of your own restaurants? Because your restaurants are delicious. Where's the first place you're going to go get a meal?
The Whitehall.
Okay.
The Whitehall Restaurant Bar down at Whitehall Road.
Nice.
My friend owns it, Fat John and his wife, and a close friend of mine, Ainsley, she's a head chef there, and she just cooks some fucking unbelievable food.
Where's that? Whitehall, where is it?
Yeah, so it's down by, do you know where Man's Market is?
Man's Market.
No, Whitehall Road, it's just down past the station.
Okay, cool.
I think there's the Cozy Club down there as well.
Yeah. Got ya.
Oh, the Whitehall restaurant, yeah, the food's banging.
Nice.
The drinks are banging as well.
Yeah, I'll have a check. I'll have a look, man. Awesome. Well, listen, dude, I really, really appreciate you taking the time. It was a good little podcast. The people are definitely going to appreciate this one. So just to finish off, man, Lee, Murdoch, where can people find you? Instagram, where are your restaurants, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so you can find me, Lee Murdoch, on Instagram. You can follow us on Fure Alba Instagram. That's where we're doing all these food boxes. So they range from 10-minute meals through to, you know, fresh produce. We're looking to do a gym line as well. So some fuss-free food coming up soon, vegetarian boxes. And then we've got 2 restaurants. One is Farron's, and that's down in Swinegate, just across the road from Beebe's or Malmaison. And then we've got 3 like a modern pub. So good beer and good food down there. We've got my chef Joe down there boshing it out.
Say that last bit again, because you just cut out just quickly, and I just don't want people to forget that. So what was the second restaurant, sorry?
It's called Three's a Crowd, and that's on Harrogate, down by the Stray. And then we've got my chef Joe's down there boshing it out.
Nice. So the first one's in the Leeds area, correct?
Yeah.
And then the second, and then Harrogate's just kind of outside Leeds. So, you know, if you're ever visiting the UK and you're around Yorkshire, you can go check that out.
Come and check us out, man.
Yeah, and if you're in Yorkshire, then you, just obviously go check it out anyway. So, listen, man, I really appreciate it. Just to kind of finish it out, I'm Dan Q, guy behind the Fitness Burrito. You can find me at Abante Performance on all social media. As always, all the information I'll chuck in the show notes, so you guys have a quick look. But listen, Lee, massive thanks again. That was awesome.
Man.